All right, guys. Everything should be working now. Everything should be working out. Uh, Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. Everything. Yeah, okay, fantastic. All right, guys, we're back. We're back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, guys, I struggled a little bit um, with the overall settings. Not sure what went wrong. If I'm very honest, I'm not the most tech orientated guy. I'm just good at reading some lines. Um, yeah, Oscar, we'll see if he can join later. But there were some issues with him joining in. So yeah, guys, let's have a look. Let's just go over the analysis, man. Such a big headache. It was to get this thing live again. Not sure what went wrong. Um, but yes, Junior, I know you want to have Oscar in, but it's not working properly today. I don't know. We have some issues with the stream. Um, we'll have to find out after the stream what went wrong there, and later I'll check it out. Um, yeah, so guys, what we're looking at? Still some further downside on EURUSD. Overall, the bias is still short until further notice. We can only pretty much go long once we break this high here. For now, 4-hour market structure remains bearish and in control. We had a bearish break of structure here in towards the downside. That means that we have, if we look at the 4-hour again, a swing high here and a swing low positioned over here. And that as long as this market structure here is in control, we are ultimately just looking for some further downside there from a EURUSD back down towards daily point of liquidity, which is situated underneath this low over here. Now for myself, there's just no long opportunity at all here on EURUSD. Therefore, the only bias that we can pretty much have for now is still a further short position. Same goes for GBPUSD. The pound is still very, very, very weak. We're still looking for that further short. We had a great week last week, like I mentioned at the beginning of the previous stream, where we really shorted the overall momentum. So the 1-hour market structure remained very, very clear for us, where we had, obviously kind of like a reaction to this supply zone here. The initial high here gets swept, and then on the breakdown, we went short with stops above the highs. This obviously resulted in a good payout or passing of problem challenges for a lot of you guys. Now, so far, what we've been seeing is that we can see that the market is consolidating, right? We're not really moving anywhere so far this week. So let's see what it brings us. Ultimately, the bias just still stands though, and we're still looking for that for the downside from GBPUSD. And we can see that within the overall leg in towards the downside, we have quite a few liquidity points. We have one over here, we have one over here, and we have one over here. And ultimately, from any points in time, can we look for a potential short position? If the lower time frame aligns with what you guys are looking for the downside, then you can obviously go short. What I think that most of us are looking at here is, hey, the 4-hour market structure, we have a swing down, we have a retracement, we have a swing down, we have a retracement, we have a swing down, and now we're just looking for the retracement for the next swing in towards the downside. The first internal high can be enough to push the market down lower. If that is going to be enough, I'm not sure. I don't like what I'm seeing so far in the sense that we just swept this low, straight away bullish reaction. Markets are just squeezing here, not really moving at all. There's no volume, right? If we compare the market to last week, we can see clear, nice, impulsive moves. And so far this week, the market is just ranging. So let's wait for a setup. You don't want to be getting into a position here and then just saying, okay, well, let's hope that this thing sells off. Definitely not. So that's why I'm not yet in a GBPUSD short position. There is potential for it though, but I would only be looking if some momentum returns. Either we see a strong push down, okay, we're ready, or from this kind of like location, we liquidated this internal low, push up higher, and then there we start seeing momentum come in. Because again, what you want to see is the market show that it wants to head in a certain direction, right? Previously, we had a strong impulse down. We liquidate the high with a lot of momentum, and then we can expect the market to reverse with a lot of momentum. So let's wait for that to kind of like come to us. Again, then EURUSD as well, still potential shorts on the table, just not an ideal trading location. USDCAD, I've been looking for some further longs in towards the upside. Who took USDCAD longs, guys? I discussed this one last week in the market outlook. Not sure if some of you were there. Did anybody capture some USDCAD longs? Did anybody get into those USDCAD longs, guys? Because USDCAD longs have been playing out very, very well. The reason for these USDCAD longs were pretty evident. I think everybody understands why we took those USDCAD longs. I highlighted it again here on the stream, but I highlighted it as well in the market outlook. We've had from USDCAD a major sweep of the equal lows, which were positioned over here after what was a very aggressive sell-off in towards the downside. So whenever you see a very aggressive sell-off in towards the downside, in towards a key point of liquidity where we have these, these clear ascending triple lows, right? You know that it's likely that the market could reverse up higher again. As when markets come into a point of liquidity with momentum, it's likely that the market will reverse out of them with a lot of momentum. If you look at the 4-hour time frame here, what happened is that you created somewhat of equal highs, okay? So this is obviously the bump in the road. If you look at the overall impulse in towards the downside, the main bump in the road is obviously this one over here. Also, if you look at the opens indicator, you can see that the yearly open was also situated just below it. So we're looking to take out the highs before any potential reversal back in towards the downside. So what I personally did was I understood, okay, what we have here is a descending trend line. We have a very clear descending trend line where we have the one high over here, the second high over here, and we have the third high over here. On that third high, we have a bearish candlestick, which is a sign that a lot of people are starting to get into sells, stop loss above the highs. And yeah, well, obviously that's already at the time the reason why I decided to get in, because I understand, hey, a lot of people are selling. I want to be in a buy position. So myself, and again, I did it transparently on the market outlook. I told you guys I'm going to get into this overall order flow that we're seeing, push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, push down. I'm just looking for the order flow to continue to take out, first of all, the high here itself, and then second of all of this trendline liquidity, which is resting above the very first high. So from that moment onwards, USDCAD has been pushing in towards the upside. So this is still a good hold until we take out that liquidity of the trend line. Once that liquidity gets taken, then it's going to kind of like become a little bit lower probability. So alpha, I don't agree with what Rucker is saying there on the yen. That's just a difference in view. I'm not sure what he wrote, if I'm very honest, but he could be right. It has to do with higher interest rates. So when you have higher interest rates, a currency becomes more interesting. In Japan, they're talking about raising interest rates, but now the ministers, that's the reason why USDJPY is pushing up higher at the moment. UJ pushed up around 220 pips. The reason for that is because the prime minister here, so the Japanese prime minister, rate hike reservations. So ultimately what she said here was that, let me just get the right piece that you want here. So the Japanese prime minister said that she conveyed her reservations about further interest rate hikes to the Bank of Japan governor. So ultimately what that just means is that she's a little bit conservative or reserved about, hey, do we actually want to see those higher interest rates? Again, in Japan, interest rates are set at what, 1%? But if they go up to, let's say, 2%, investors with capital can get 2% return instead of the 1%, which then causes them to put their money into the Japanese yen. Also, there's a carry trade going on. I won't dive too much into it, but a lot of reasons for that, and the reason why. Oh yeah, so then Oscar's, yeah, right. So then Rucker was good. Not sure what you're saying in Alpha. NZUSD daily liquidity low. What are you saying? What are you thinking? Yeah, makes sense. I guess we're still looking for somewhat of a downside push. It still looks good to push down lower. I don't see this kind of like causing us or giving us a full-blown reversal back in towards the highs. Obviously, we expect bullish reactions from certain points in the market where there is actual liquidity. So what we're looking for is, very simply said, a overall liquidity sweep to take place. of a daily liquidity point that can cause a reversal. So your daily point of liquidity is situated here. So ultimately, we're just looking for the next sell-off before a major rise again in price. Again, from current location, it doesn't make sense to see a full-blown reversal. So we're simply said just looking for that next push in towards the downside. So let's see if we can get that from NZD USD. When it comes down to NCJPY, ADJPY, these are obviously continuing somewhat the bullish trend. Again, I mean, the yen weakness that you're seeing here, so the NCJPY push up, it's mainly based on just a single headline, right? What we can ultimately see is that price is still consolidating here. And what has currently happened is that we've just swept the low of the range. And if you watch my most recent liquidity video here on the channel, you know that this is a perfect example of range liquidity. We have swept the overall low of the range over here, and then we reversed up higher, and now we've swept the overall high of the range. So the market is still just in consolidation. So for myself, it's always very risky to trade these kind of setups. Can this demand now push the market up higher? 100%. It can, but it will most likely need to take out this low here first before seeing any further upside. Other than that, still the setup is a little bit on the low probability side. I do like the fact that this is your impulse up. Within the impulse, we took out major liquidity here, and it makes therefore sense to start pushing up higher again because, again, you've retraced into discount pricing, you've taken out major liquidity, and the market now ranging before potentially the next push up. But in these situations, what I prefer to do, just instead of just buying on the first one, just buy on the second one, because if it starts going, it's going to go anyway, and there's still lots of room for it to go further in towards the upside, because look how big the overall pullback phase was, right? Your pullback phase is this orange zone. I'm going to make it orange now. Is this orange zone, and we're now potentially in the new bullish phase. So we had the push up, the pullback down, and we're now looking for the next push up. But the next push up never really happens in just a straight line. So what you're going to see is a push up, a pull down, a push up, pull down, push up, pull down, push up. And what I'm simply looking to do is just trade later in the leg, so not the very first one, because when we have kind of like this consolidative price action here, you can just get caught up in consolidation and manipulation. So I prefer to kind of like confirm the overall breakout out of the current range, and therefore I'm just waiting for the market to break out clearly and show me that, hey, indeed we do have demand here, and on the next kind of like break up, next liquidation low, that's when I'll then get into a long position. So that's what I'm kind of like looking for on that sort of things. I see some of you are saying gold is pushing now. Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the previous stream, gold has now taken out major liquidity underneath this low here, so it now makes sense to look for potential longs. What I'll be looking at personally is just a break of 15-minute structure very clearly. So I want to see a clear break up, the retest, and then for the next long position. For now, supply is still in control. This could just be bullish candlesticks and then another sell-off. So you really want to wait for the overall bullish confirmation before getting involved with any potential long opportunities. That's why I'm not really kind of like stressing too much about gold just yet. EURUSD, yeah, so EURUSD is kind of like the advanced version of NCJPY. EURUSD looks relatively nicer because of the fact that you had demand here and now you have the next demand zone over here. So the overall order flow is now confirmed. Looking at this though, again, I don't personally like buying off of a news candle. I kind of like prefer to see the low itself get wicked and then the next push up higher to happen. So I would wait for that to happen before getting involved with any potential long opportunities. GBPUSD we already discussed, guys. Looking for shorts still. Could happen from current prices, but could happen from higher prices as well. ADCHF, we are ultimately still bullish on the Australian dollar, but ADCHF is becoming a more and more difficult expression of longs at the moment. The Swiss franc is relatively strong in the current risk-off environment. It's not an ideal. The Swiss franc is very strong. We're kind of like getting in towards potentially the end of the leg. It's obviously still in a bullish channel here, so it could continue going up, but I mean the price action is getting uglier and uglier by the day. Very rangy consolidative price action, so not ideal for myself. ADJPY on the other hand is a lot more clean, much more trending, much more impulsive. On ADJPY, it still makes sense just to hold on to the long positions if you are in longs. I hope some of you are. I think we highlighted this position last week where we've had a monthly open situated over here, right? So the monthly open together with the fact that we took out internal liquidity, we retraced into discount, and yeah, I mean, we're bullish, right? So we have a major bump in the road. We've have had discount pricing. We've had a monthly open, and ultimately what happened is that we saw the first market structure break. We saw the second break in towards the upside. That meant that from this low towards this high, you had a strong impulse. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. Was there anything clean over there? Just took out this low here. Took out kind of like this range liquidity low. From there, reversed up higher. But yeah, no, definitely a good overall buying opportunity. And yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, Aussie yen is still a good hold in my opinion. Still a good hold. So I would hold on to this position for now, as long as you are still in a relatively good overall hold, and this should still push further in towards the upside. We currently expect us to be in the next impulsive phase after what has been a pullback phase. So we're just looking for the next kind of like higher high to now be created and established on ADJPY. So it makes sense to hold on to that position. I see some of you ask about EURUSD and GBPUSD. The Miracle Crow, no need to spam, guys, come on. EURUSD, I have been looking at for the longs, or shorts, excuse me, but the price action just has not really been there at the moment since around mid-Feb. Ideally, what will happen in the near future is that we come up for some more liquidity before looking for some more shorts. Shorting from current location is not ideal. So I'd only be looking for more upside before any further downside again. That is what I would wait for in EURUSD. GBPUSD, on the other hand, is a lot more impulsive, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, slightly more impulsive. On this pair, also looking for further shorts. We have had a 4-hour BOS in towards the downside right over here. And if we look at the premium versus discount, we can see that we've retraced exactly towards 0.5 fib. Personally, I was looking at this internal high here and for a short from there. That for me was more clean personally. So I would be looking at that high for potential short. Yeah, that's kind of like the high that I'm more focused on. Other than that, I don't really just see the setup just yet on this thing. Guys, GBPUSD I've already talked about many times. We're still just focused on shorts only. Swiss yen longs. Yeah, Swiss yen has kind of like gone without a lot of you. I understand that you're looking at a long. If you look at the market structure, we've had the impulsive phase here in towards the highs. When we then had a retracement phase, which is this orange phase. And we now have the overall impulsive phase again. The market retraced into discount pricing and into some of the final liquidity. So we're now forming a demand chain where we've had this demand zone here, and now you would expect this here to be demand zone here. Again, it's very simple on these kind of setups. What you need to fuel the next leg up is liquidity. So either it takes out this liquidity low and from there we look for long again, or it kind of like ranges, pushes up, this is liquidity, then reverse, and then we look for the next long on that liquidity that is then created. So you haven't had any positions still for the week. No, last week and the week before were very good and profitable. So I've already kind of like achieved my targets for this month of doing around 3%. So there's not really any reason for me to kind of like force any other positions. And it might be a unique perspective for a lot of you. But it's not about, for me, it's not about being in a position every single day or every single week. Again, I'm still favoring a short on GBPUSD, but I'll let the setup come to me. Current market is consolidating, so I don't need to be in a position just to be in a position. Like I could sell here and then just hope it goes, but yeah, kind of like pathetic to hope that it goes, right? Let's just wait and let the setup come to us. CAD Swiss. Yeah, CAD Swiss, I'm still favoring a short. I'm still looking for this to head down lower. It's, from a 4-hour perspective, already taken out major liquidity. We've had a strong impulse in towards the downside. We've had a lot of liquidity grabbed, and we've had the internal market structure shift twice. So we're looking for this indeed to sell off further. That would still make sense. GBP NZD longs. Not sure what I think of that. Two relatively weak currencies against each other. Nah, I don't see longs. Don't see longs. Not a big fan of taking longs on that, if I'm very honest. ADUSD. ADUSD is a little bit stuck. I see what you're looking at. You're probably looking at this 1 hour impulse up with liquidity taken here, and you now want to look for long. I mean, the thing is that the dollar index is still relatively strong. So for me, it's not a very high probability long. If it breaks the internal structure here, I mean, go for it. Try it out. See if you can take that long position. But just remember that if you zoom out and look at the 4 hour, you're trading within a range. So very high probability setup, not really. It would become a lot higher probability if it takes out this low here and you retrace into discount pricing. Ideally, even you retrace towards the monthly open before looking for a real higher probability over a long position. For myself, I just like USDCAD a lot still to hold on to for the buy side. USDCHF longs, I'm not really buying it. I mean, it's kind of like USDCAD, though then a little bit uglier because the Swiss is strong. We've had a demand flow in towards the upside, right? Like this, market structure has been bullish. Monthly open as support. Makes sense to continue pushing up higher, but if you zoom out a little bit more, then what is the market structure? What is the momentum? Bearish impulse down, liquidity taken. So you just want to see a shift in the overall order flow now bearish, right? You want to see a break of the overall green zone, retest of the monthly open, and then take that short position. That is the higher probability plan that you would want to be taking, and that is a lot higher probability. G Swiss, I was looking at a short. The pound is very, very weak, though the rangy price action is kind of like putting me off of getting involved with this thing. I don't really see how we could enter, though I must say if we look at the 15, we do have some internal liquidity now that I'm starting to like here on this high. So maybe together with the weekly open, that could cause a sell-off towards all of these ascending lows. So I would be looking indeed maybe at something like this, yeah. That could be a setup to monitor. EURUSD, definitely not something that we are interested at the moment, guys. I think you took a buy. Let's have a look. So ADJPY obviously very, very bullish. I can't imagine that you took a short position on this. AD took a buy. Seems very, very unlikely that you took a short on this because of how bullish it currently is. Obviously only been pushing in towards the upside. So we're looking for further buying opportunities. If we look at the 4 hour time frame, you had a break of structure here in towards the upside. Swing low, swing high. First liquidity point taken, second liquidity point was still open. The first one was already enough to kind of like push the market up higher again. Looking at this, let me see the 4 hour. 4 hour wise, we still have the high to break. So it's still a good long. Obviously we're trading after the break of structure line though, keep that in mind. So a deeper retracement is still possible, but we could say that this here was already the pullback and that the next impulsive phase has started. Though it's very, very ugly. I'm looking kind of like at the 1 hour time frame to see what we can get involved with there. On the 1 hour time frame, you have this impulse up. You had the first liquidity low and the second liquidity low. Ideally, one more drive lower and then kind of like a 1 hour change of character to then look for a long. That would be much more ideal. You had the... No sound. I have sound. Sound gone for everyone. No, Jimmy has sound. Then it should be fine. Yeah, guys. Some beginners on the stream. So yeah, ADCAD could still play out. AD NZD still makes sense to long this. Again, what you will need here is some reaccumulation. So we've had another break in towards the upside here. You have a swing low, you have a swing high. Where's the internal liquidity positioned? The internal positioning of liquidity is situated here and pretty much just, well, here. So ideally a little bit lower, and then look for some new longs on AD NZD. That could play out. Silver, silver makes sense to look for some longs, though it's ranging for now. Yeah, what can we say about this? I mean, I'm thinking, like, if I look at this from a 1 hour perspective, 15-minute time frame perspective, I mean, it's consolidating, so the lower bound of the range can be bought up, but it's not really anything, if I'm very honest. Like, it could break out, could not break out. It's just gambling with silver. I think gold is a lot more clear at the moment, market structure wise. But then again, just don't get caught up, guys, in buying early. Supply is still in control. If we can break the supply, yeah, you can look for a long, but otherwise supply is still in control, could just push us down lower again. Keep that in mind. Yeah, Swiss yen is still a good long. Just needed to provide us kind of like with some good opportunity. GCAD pushing up higher. I mean, GCAD is just a range, so don't really recommend trading that. GJ, we haven't had a look at that yet. Pushing up nicely, though reaching interesting levels, reaching an internal liquidity point, has reached it. Yearly open, monthly open. This is more short than a buy, in my opinion, at the current location that it is at. Guys, I'm gonna head off. I want to thank everybody for joining. A little bit of a chaotic one today because the stream kind of like malfunctioned on us, but we'll do another one with Oscar again. I'm gonna go live inside Discord tomorrow. No real trading opportunities at the moment to take live trades on, but just some market updates here for you guys. And want to thank you all, and we speak very, very soon. Thank you very much, guys, and appreciate you all for taking the time to be here. Thanks.